Hey everybody. So I saw this thread a few days ago and it kind of triggered me a little bit because it certainly brought up a lot of, I think, interesting questions, but it also just reminded me of how much Black women are still dogged out here. We just can't catch a break no matter what. And I'm talking about this particular statement that this woman made a few days ago. Baller Alert picked up this and ran with this question. They said, is phobia synonymous with preference? The reason why they asked that is because this woman, I believe she identifies herself as a lesbian. She basically made this statement. She said, Black women, is homophobic and biphobic to not date a man just because he's bisexual. Follow me for a second. Because the question had been out there. Are you okay? Would you be okay dating a bisexual man? The question had been out there, and certainly it had been exasperated and brought up again by the recent happenings with the lady in Indianapolis. But let me just read what this woman wrote here. She said, he should have told me. If he's not a virgin, it's assumed that he's been with other people. Would you be making this much noise if he told you he'd been with other girls before you? Why does he need to specifically tell you he's been with men before you? He should have told me now that we're serious. Why? He's with you, and if he's with a man after you, that's not your concern. So what exactly do you gain from knowing that? You're only bothered by dating bi men if deep down you believe these wrong things. Number one, bisexual men aren't safe to date because men who sleep with men will automatically give you HIV. And number two, bisexual men are lying, and they really gay on the low. And then she continued as well with number three. Number three, he might leave you for a man. Straight men could break up with you and decide to date another woman. So why is dating a man after you so much worse? See, I knew he was really gay. Sis, read number 2 on the last tweet. Nah, it's about honesty. Oh, okay. Lay out your sexual history for him then, not just your ex. Also tell him about the group chat you're in with your straight friends where you put the googly-eyed emojis on all the stud lesbian pics. All right, and so Baller Alert picked up her thread and they posed this question again, is phobia or is preference synonymous with phobia? And other people started to chime in on this thread. And she said, so hit dogs are hollering in my mentions. I'm talking to Black women because it's been time to discuss this. Just because we Black doesn't mean we can do no wrong. And homophobia and biphobia is wrong. And she continued basically trashing Black women. I felt, in my opinion, I felt like she was really kind of coming at Black women real sideways and kind of funny, basically saying Black women, we're more likely to get STIs anyway from our own sexual group, which means Black heterosexual men. So no matter who you date, no matter what you're doing, you need to go ahead and get tested. Bloop, bloop. Okay. And that was kind of the ending for her. Like I said, other people chimed in and this person said, you won't date someone because they're bisexual. Listen to how that sounds. You prefer to only date straight men, even though a bisexual man dates women. No, it's not a preference. It's a phobia. You're scared and that's on that. And then Baller Alert asked, Black women are to blame for all of this? And this man responded. He basically said, as a bi man, I can honestly say Black women have made me feel more uncomfortable than any other demographic. I was blessed to have a tolerant mother and sisters, but the DL men I date and myself claim the world would be easier and more accepting without Black women. All right. And then he continued. He said, you have the right to not tolerate anything, but like I said, it's become too much of a custom for Black women to shade what they don't understand. And that's why more Black women will end up with a DL man, because Black women want to be tolerated, but lack tolerance. Okay. And then he continued and he said, that's exactly what I'm saying. And if you aren't comfortable enough to date a bi man, then at least work on yourself enough to where if someone tells you they're bi, not using those common misconceptions to belittle their lifestyles. Black women are the biggest emasculators. And then his last tweet that I was able to pick up, he said, I'm actually cool. Just started talking to a DL rapper, but even his story on why he will never come out is due to his Black mama or baby mama, I don't know, and other women. And so that just made me think to myself.
No, ma'am.
And ask the question.
No, ma'am.
Well, okay, let me start with this.
No, ma'am.
No, I'm not interested in dating a bisexual man, and I don't think that makes me biphobic or homophobic or any of that. All right. Now let me go back to what this woman posed, saying, Black women were homophobic. That triggered me because I think that's bullshit. I think that's absolutely bullshit. Now, she did bring up a point that I think is a valid question. Not for me, but it's a valid question. She said, does it matter who this person dated prior to you? If he dated a woman prior to you, you wouldn't care. So why do you care if he dated a man before you? No, actually, you know what? It does apply to me because you goddamn right I would care. I would care. I would absolutely care if the person that I'm dating told me, yes, I dated a man prior to you. Because for me, personally, I would say that made him gay. Now, I do understand there is something called a bisexual person where they like both sexes, and that's fine. But for me, I'm just telling you personally, for me, if a man told me that he dated a man prior to me, I would just naturally assume he's gay. Okay? I do understand that there are people who are attracted to both sexes. But for me personally, in my mind, I would just say, wow, he's gay. He's gay. He's been with men. And yes, I couldn't get past that. I would not be able to get past that. So her asking the question, does it matter? It matters to me. Now, what I don't like or appreciate is that all these people that I just read on these tweets, they seem to just be really coming at Black women as if we are just like the biggest haters. We just completely homophobic. We hate everybody that's gay. And I just like, I'm sitting here like, how are you guys putting this at our door? How are you putting this at our doorstep and saying Black women are biphobic because you are biphobic. You're afraid of bisexual men. And I'm just thinking to myself, I'm sure there are other races of women who feel exactly the same way. All right. How did that become a Black woman issue? I'm sure there are white women that would not want to date a bisexual man, and there are Asian women that wouldn't want to. So how does that become a Black woman thing? How is it that we are to blame for what's going on with Black men not wanting to live in their truth? Now, do I think that there's some validity to this whole idea that Black people, because we are naturally a little bit more conservative in that spectrum, I think that there are a lot of men who probably feel like they cannot be who they want to be for fear of being chastised, because a lot of us have our roots in the church, right? But I don't necessarily feel like that's a Black woman thing. I just don't. I absolutely don't. And I do feel bad that if a person they can't live their truth and be completely out here, then they decide to go underground, which is why they call them DL. They decide to go underground, live their lives secretly, doing, being with women in the day, being with women in public, but really wanting to date both or be with men as well. That is an issue, but I don't feel that that's a Black woman issue, and I don't feel like Black women should be blamed for that. That's societal, right? That's something that just society, and there are plenty of white men that are also DL. There are a lot of white men as well that go underground and sleep with men, over here, but they are with women in public. So again, how does that become a Black woman problem? How are Black women to blame for that? I think a lot of this this conversation, I'm sure, probably was an offset or broke off from the conversation that was had prior with the woman in Indianapolis, Jane Walfield, who was tragically killed. She was murdered when she attempted to out a man that she had a prior relationship with. And basically she alleged that he was engaging in some kind of sex with another man. And she attempted to out him. And then it brought up this conversation about, did it even matter if she wasn't with him anymore? Did it matter that he was sleeping with a man or allegedly sleeping with a man? And I say, maybe not in that moment and not the way she handled it, but I'm just being honest with you that it matters to me. And that does not make me phobic. That does not make me biphobic if I want a straight man. All right. And I'm just shocked that people out here calling it a preference. That's crazy to me. I'm just shocked that now that's because I thought preference was, oh, I like tall men. I like men, muscular men, right? I didn't know that preference was, I like to date straight men. I didn't know that became a preference, but how does that become a phobia? How is preference a phobia? Now people out here trying to truly say that if you have a preference, that means you are phobic. Phobic means afraid of. And I'm not afraid of other groups of people. That's just like saying a white man who chooses to only date women with blonde hair, he must be racist against everybody else. No, that doesn't make him a racist. What makes him racist if he hates other groups of people based on their race, right? That doesn't make him phobic because he likes women with blonde hair, just like a black man who might he just wants to date short girls. Now, if he's dogging tall girls, that's a different conversation, right? I'm not sitting here dogging bisexual men. I'm sure there is a subgroup of people who would love to date a man that's bisexual. If he came out and said, listen, I date women, but I date men. There is a woman out there that's going to say, cool, I'm down. I'm down with that. That's cool with me. It's whatever. I like you. But that doesn't mean the rest of us are phobic. That doesn't mean the rest of us hate you. I do wish that bisexual men were able to live in their truth, but that doesn't mean the rest of us are phobic and hate mongers. I just hate that. And I hate that, I think it's the damn millennials. They just make everything like, you must be transphobic. You must be biphobic. You homophobic. You fat phobic. You McDonald's phobic. I don't know. It's just like everything is a phobia now with these young folks. Everything. And it's just like, come on now. But I'm not with people dogging black women and saying basically we're the cause, we're the reason for down low men. We're the reason for down low men. I think it's much bigger than that, and I'm sure there are people out there in their lives that probably made them feel a type of way, but I just don't think you should lay that at the foot of black women. And then again, trying to basically say that if you don't like to date bisexual men, you are homophobic. Like that's just bullshit to me. Absolutely bullshit. I can't even believe that this is a conversation, but I just wanted to bring that to you guys. And do you think that preference is the same as phobia? Let me know in the comments, and like, comment, and subscribe, and support the channel. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Take care, y'all.